What's up, guys? Parker Talks is back. I just ranked the Marvel TV shows that are soon to come in the MCU, and now I want to rank the movies in the MCU in Phase 4 on which ones I'm most excited for from the worst to the best. So let's get started. So there are going to be 5 movies in Phase 4 of the MCU. Now, this phase of the MCU of Phase 4 is just going to be really weird and see what's just going to happen. After having Avengers Endgame, I know we had the second Spider-Man movie and Far From Home after Avengers Endgame, but just after all that, trying to start a new phase with this, it's just going to be weird, but I think it's going to go really well. I know. It's going to go in a different type of direction that we haven't seen before, something that we haven't seen any of the phases 1, 2, or 3, and I think it's going to be a pretty good phase. Now, that being said, there's some movies in this that I don't really know much about, as it is just being introduced into the MCU. Now, just being an MCU fan this year, I didn't have to worry about that going through the years of the MCU, but so now this is a bit different for me as I'm going through these Marvel movies. So coming in the last place for me at number 5, it's going to be Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which is soon to be released in May of 2021. All of these movies have been delayed because of the COVID pandemic. But this is coming in at number 5. Not that I don't think it's going to be a good movie. I think it's going to be a good movie. It's a kung fu movie. Those are always pretty good. It's just that, like I said earlier, this is a movie that is just really weird in the MCU. And so a kung fu movie being put into the MCU is just something out of the ordinary. Now, you could say the same thing for Guardians of the Galaxy with the talking tree and raccoon, and no one thought at the beginning that that was going to be a good idea, and it really turned out well for the MCU. So maybe this will too. I just don't know much about it. I know I've seen a lot of kung fu movies, and maybe this could be a good one, and it could fit well into the MCU. It's just that, what if there's like a new Avengers, I hope there is, and you have this Shang-Chi guy who does karate and that's his power? I don't know. Maybe it's a superpower. We'll see. I'll know more about it as this movie is released. Coming in at number 4 on my list is The Eternals, which is set to release in February of 2021. Now, again, I don't really know much about this movie as well, but I know it's something that can definitely send the MCU back on the right path of just getting heated again and all this like cosmic power stuff and all that. So apparently the Eternals are supposed to be these people that were made from humans and then like godlike celestials, and we've seen celestials and how they work in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which I thought was a really cool addition in that Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So compared to the Guardians of the Galaxy movie and the Thor movies, and Captain Marvel as well, I feel like this Eternals movie can send us in this cosmic realm just to make the MCU much bigger, meeting more characters, meeting more maybe villains, maybe a new Thanos, something like that. And I think that's a good way just to send the MCU on a certain type of path where it can get really good in, the Phase 5s where maybe we have a new team of Avengers and all that. And this is also a movie where the Eternals is a bunch of people. It's going to be the same kind of deal maybe as Guardians of the Galaxy, where you have a bunch of people as the protagonists, like this main group, compared to just one, like Iron Man or Captain America. So that's something different, but it's similar to mainly Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'm looking forward to this as well. Just don't know much about this movie. Coming in at number 3 on my list is Thor, Love, and Thunder, which is set to release on February of 2022. Now, I'm really excited for this movie as we have Thor going into his 4th film. Captain America, Iron Man, they ended in 3 films. I think without Thor Ragnarok being as good as it was, definitely compared to those first 2 Thor movies, I don't think we would be having this 4th Thor movie. So I'm really excited to see how this goes. This is going to take place after Avengers Endgame, and we're going to have some pretty good characters in this, as well as Tessa Thompson, who plays Valkyrie in the movies, in the past movies, is probably going to be the ruler of Asgard now. Maybe they're going to try to bring back Asgard as it was destroyed in Thor Ragnarok. We're also going to have Natalie Portman returning in this film as she wasn't in Thor Ragnarok. Now, the problem with that is that maybe there's been rumors that she's going to be a Lady Thor, so giving her powers like instantly of having the same type of powers as Thor, I'm not really on the train for. I don't really want that to happen, and even if she were to continue with the MCU, that wouldn't be the my most desired outcome for this film. But you still have a lot of characters in this film that I think is going to be really good. I mean, Christian Bale is probably going to be the antagonist in this film, whoever that is, which is going to be pretty cool. Christian Bale being the Batman from the Batman movies of the Christopher Nolan films. This movie, it could go really anywhere. It can definitely drive what's going to happen in the future of the MCU, and it's also definitely probably going to be Thor's last movie, unless he wants to continue with the Guardians of the Galaxy afterwards. But definitely his last Thor movie. So we'll see how his legacy ends in this movie as well. That being said, I'm really excited for this movie, and it's something that will get the MCU back up again after this whole pandemic. Coming in at number 2, we have Black Widow, which please, I hope it's released in November of this year. It was delayed. I believe it was supposed to be airing in May of 2020, but of course it was delayed till now in November. But I'm very confident that they're going to release it in November. And this was very close. This could have easily been my number 1. Between number 2 and 1, it's really close. But for years, everybody has been wanting a female-led superhero role as a movie in the MCU, and Black Widow is definitely everybody's favorite female lead in the MCU, and everybody wanted her to have her own movie as well. And this is going to be a great movie. I'm really excited for her, as it's going to take place in between Civil War and Infinity War, and it's going to basically dive into the realm of like Black Widow's past, where she comes from, this like training facility called the Red Room, I think, where she kind of like, I guess, did her training as this assassin, starting in Russia and all that. It's going to take place a lot of places around Europe in this movie. You're also going to have David Harbour, if you know him from the Stranger Things. He's Chief Hopper. He's going to be a character in this film. I think part of Black Widow's family, as she's going to meet her family in this film. You also have Taskmaster, who from the trailers of this seems like a really cool villain. And another part of this film that's going to be amazing is just the combat part of it. That's something I really like about these certain MCU films, just like the combat between different people and the fighting scenes. Black Widow is the perfect example for that. To have a lot of combat fighting scenes, it's going to be amazing. Compared to like Kung Fu, this is just like something we've already seen like in Avengers, the whole MCU for a long time. So this is going to be really exciting to see, especially Black Widow have her own movie. Now, obviously, the only takeoff for this film is what happened in Avengers Endgame, but this all takes place before. We have always wondered what has happened to Black Widow's wife. There's been there's been always these sequences in all these movies that we've seen Black Widow kind of like stop for a moment because maybe something from her past causes her to stop whatever it is that she's doing. So I'm really excited to see this film. It's going to be amazing. But just breaking my number 1 spot is going to be Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which is set to release in March of 2022. This movie is just breaking my number 1 spot because I think it has the most potential to just what's going to drive the MCU into those phase 5s and 6s. You have so much that could happen in this film, as you're going to have Doctor Strange. He can, teleport. I mean, not teleport, but you know what I mean, with those portals. Anywhere, he can basically do anything with his powers, and you're also going to have Scarlet Witch in there as well, and with her powers and Doctor Strange powers, you don't know where this movie could be heading. And also the WandaVision television series that we're going to see soon to be released on Disney+. The ending is going to be tied into the beginning of this film, as well as we're going to see Scarlet Witch in this film. This movie also is really good because in the first Doctor Strange movie, obviously it's an origin story, and it's not that I don't like origin stories, but the Doctor Strange origin story is just not as good as some of the other ones like Captain America, Iron Man, just anybody, because it's not very rewatchable too. So when you don't have to have any of that in the film, he's already Doctor Strange. You don't need an hour to get all that together. You don't need an hour of him becoming Doctor Strange, because obviously he is Doctor Strange and he can go do anything in this film. This film could just take us anywhere, could take us to our next big villain, because we don't really know who that villain is. in this film as of yet. I'm just picking this film because there are so many different possibilities that can drive from this film and in this film as well. It's going to be it's going to be very intricate in this film as well, as you see all this CGI that we've seen in Doctor Strange. I'm pretty sure that's going to come back in this film as well, as we have cities just going off top of other cities because of his powers. It's going to be a really cool film to see, and I can't wait to watch it. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. There are so many films that are about to come out in the MCU that haven't had their official titles yet, but I would love to go over those in the future. So comment down below if you would like to see that, and which movie are you most excited for in this list that I have for you guys right now. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. See ya.